Hello and welcome to JavaScript Bytes, where we solve practical JavaScript problems in bite-sized chunks. In this video, we'll build a beginner-friendly drag and drop project, but not just dragging items around the page. This time, we'll drag tasks into specific zones, a task box and a done box. All of it is powered by vanilla JavaScript, no libraries, nothing extra. I'll start by creating a new project, step into it, and open it in Visual Studio Code, my favorite editor of choice. Let's create a new HTML file. In here, I'll set up the usual HTML structure. In Visual Studio Code, it just involves typing HTML and selecting second entry. And the boilerplate is ready. Let's give it a name. Okay, that was the boilerplate. Now I'm going to type some HTML and then I'll explain. Alright, here's our layout. Just two zones inside a div with class board. On the left, the task zone containing three draggable cards. On the right, the done zone which starts empty. The important part is that each card has draggable equal to true. That attribute tells the browser this element can be dragged and each card has a unique ID. So our JavaScript knows which specific card we are working with. Next, we need to style these items. So I'm going to add some styling in the head section and then I'll explain about it. This CSS is simple but effective. The board uses flexbox to put the zones side by side. Each zone has a dashed border and minimum height so it looks like a container. When we hover a card over the zone, we'll add the .active class. That changes the border to green and slightly changes the background, so the user knows it's a valid drop target. The cards themselves are light gray blocks with a cursor grab, so they feel draggable, and while dragging, they fade out slightly with the .dragging class. Right, now for the fun part, the JavaScript. Let's type it first and then understand what it's doing. Okay, our JavaScript is ready. So first I set up a variable called dragged ID. This will temporarily store the ID of whichever card is being dragged. Next, I loop through every card with .card class. On dragstart, I save its ID into dragged ID and add a dragging class so the card fades out a bit while moving. On dragEnd, I remove that class. That handles the visual side. Now the zones. Each dot zone listens for three events. Dragover fires when something is hovering over the zone. By default, zones don't accept drops, so we must call event.prevent default. Without that single line, you cannot drop here. While hovering, I add the .active class to highlight the zone. Dragleave just removes the highlight when the card leaves the zone. And finally, drop. Again, I prevent the default behavior, then look up the card using document.getElementById by ID and passing in the dragged ID. With append child, I physically move the card into the new zone storm. That's the magic. We are not copying, we are reparenting the existing node. So the card truly moves zones, then I remove the highlight. So our code is now ready. Let's save it and see it in action. All right, let's try it out. So I'm going to drag design auth flow from the task zone and drop it into the done zone. Yeah, it's not working. We definitely made some mistake. Let's see. Okay, here it is. That is an event listener, not query selector. That was quick to we discovered. So let's try it again. Refresh, paste, and awesome. It moved instantly. I can drag the others too. Let's try those. We can bring it back as well. Each drop just reparents the card from one section to another. No frameworks, just the DOM API. Alright, so that's how you build drag and drop with zones in plain JavaScript. That is the final code. Let me show. Scroll past it slowly. I'll also provide link to the code in description. So remember, store the drag element, allow drops with prevent default, and on drop, append the node into the target. That is the foundation for Kanban boards, to-do list, and even more complex UIs, all with the built-in API. Alright, that was it for the video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.